Welcome back, everyone, to the Tat Nation podcast, where we discuss the Spokane real estate market news and things happening in the area. My name is Connor, and I'm joined today by Kyle Nash. We are here to talk about the housing market.
Yeah,
of course. So, Kyle, with home values surging, is it still an affordable time to buy right now?
Yeah, I mean, interest rates are still historically low, so obviously talk to a lender and get some answers there as far as what you can actually be approved for. Just because the interest rate's low doesn't mean you, yourself as a buyer, are going to get a great interest rate. Interest rates are more based off of risk from the bank. So you're going to have different types of, not different types of interest rates, but you're going to have, what the Fed is at, and then also what the bank is willing to do as well. So there's just a couple of different things with it. So it's sometimes misleading to say like, well, if it's affordable, it's like, well, I remember when I bought and rates were at like 3.25, but I ended up with a 3.75 because I was more of a risk to the bank. Because I was only in real estate for a year, and then my wife had been working for a couple of years too. But they had to go mainly more off of my wife's income, so we were more of a risk. Mm-hmm. So sometimes that does affect it. A couple other things too. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Is when you're a buyer and you're wanting to wait, 6 months or something, you have no idea what interest rates are going to do. And so I don't know if you think that your budget is going to change by tens of thousands of dollars in the next couple of months or 6 months. Generally, that doesn't happen for most people. So if your budget doesn't change in the next 6 months, then why do you think you'd be able to afford what you can now in 6 months?
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's interesting when people say, yeah, we're going to wait till summer. And I say, why would you wait till summer when you know that the interest rates, and again, not trying to push them into buying right now, because obviously we still have to try to find something on the market. That's the biggest thing. But if you can find something right now, taking advantage of what the prices are at and the interest rates are at, we have no idea what's going to happen in 6 months. Prices could go up, interest rates could go up, and then now all of a sudden what you can afford now, you're not going to be able to afford in 6 months, or a year. So,
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That pretty much summed up the whole entire article. But
I didn't even need to read it.
Right here it said housing inventory is at an all-time low. Realtor.com just reported that there are 39% fewer homes for sale today than there were last year. So,
Jeez.
I don't know if that has to do with the pandemic and things going on, or if it's just where we're at with pricing and rates and stuff like that. It's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it has so much to do with the pandemic. I think a lot of people think it does, but 39% down. I mean, that's fine, but some of it is a lot,
almost half.
But you also think, I mean, that's why it's such a hot seller's market, because again, a lot of sellers are out there and they're like, well, if it's such a hot market for us, I mean, yeah, we can sell, but there's not a lot of like, if you're taking advantage of the market because you can sell and just make a ton of money on your house, where are you going to go? That's the biggest thing. Sellers are like, I have nowhere to go because there's also no other homes on the market. So really the only, a big option for most people is to buy land and go build. And sometimes that stuff doesn't even pop up on the MLS, so you're not even going to get those stats in any of this Realtor.com stuff. So people that are upgrading to a brand new house on land or acreage or something like that, sometimes those may not even be, again, they may not be sales recorded on the MLS.
Right.
So when you're kind of taking those stats, I mean, there's a lot. It'd be interesting if we could pull up something about new home construction and how much that's been on the rise in the last few years. Even this year, it's probably gone up quite a bit.
Oh, so, yeah. I tried to call a couple of home builders a few weeks ago. You can't even get a hold of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just so busy and building. I mean, you can't even get a hold of a home buyer. So, very, very interesting.
Yeah. We can go over the numbers real quick. So last week we had 1,555. This week we're down a net of 53, a negative net of 53. So we're at 1,502 for active listings this week. However, kind of something interesting, I saw that all the other categories did actually go up this week. So new listings went up. We're a positive net about 20. Pending listings went up a positive net 30. And closed listings went up a positive net of 14. So again, we're around the holidays. My guess is people weren't looking around in that Thanksgiving, and then the week after they started looking, so everything went under contract, last week or so, and now we're starting to see the results of what happened the week after Thanksgiving. So generally, that's going to happen right around the holidays. But holidays are also a great time for a home buyer to go out there get a good deal on a house because some other people aren't going to be looking. So
Yeah. There's also a chart on this article here, and we'll pop it up on the screen right now. And it says, to interpret the indices, a value of 100 means that a family with a median income has exactly enough income to qualify for a mortgage on the median home priced. Index above 100 signifies that family earning the median income has more than enough income to qualify for a mortgage loan on a median priced home, assuming a 20% down payment, and we're sitting at 160 right now. So the chart actually that represents today's affordability shows that homes are now more affordable than they were from 1990 to 2008 and 2017 to 2018.
Wow.
So pretty interesting chart. And that's just all based on the median income of families today.
Yeah. So income's gone up, interest rates have gone down, so that means you can afford more generally. Yeah, I mean that's good news, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that people are just not really aware, that to own a house and to have some equity in a property is actually a lot more realistic than what they think. There's back in the day when it wasn't as affordable, or there were a little bit less government guide or restrictions on some of the loans. Yeah, it was probably more difficult to get a loan, and there were there's debt to income ratio and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they've probably loosened up a little bit more, so that also has an effect on those charts, saying, well, okay, we're loosening up on the debt to income ratio, what we're allowing people to start owning a home for. So yeah, there's just there's a lot to it. So.
Yeah. And 2009 to 2015, believe it or not, was the most affordable time to buy a home after the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
And that's just because it says foreclosures and short sales dominated the market.
Yeah.
Everyone was panic selling, hitting the button. And
yeah, and everyone's got this idea that a foreclosure or a short sale right now, that they're just like dumpy houses or something like that, they're abandoned or something. It's not always the case. I mean, some people, if they just can't afford it, I mean, they're still living in their house.
Yeah.
There is probably a case to be made that people that are getting foreclosed on, they may just not care as much about the house, and so they're just ready to get out, and then they're not going to take care of it like a homeowner would. But at the same point, there's probably a lot of deals that back in 2008 people were like, I had no idea that I was going to get foreclosed on, so probably had a better chance of getting a decent house back then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and says here, home price in Spokane, the average sales price right now is $295,000, up 18.4% since last year.
Yeah, I've got anywhere between like 295 and 307 or something like that. So
it fluctuates. I think it goes, month by month.
Yeah, for sure.
So right now we're obviously in a slower season. So interesting stuff.
Yeah.
That's all I got. We went over the numbers. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you made it this far, hey, hit that like button. Yeah. Maybe share this thing. We're just trying to give you guys as much value as possible. If you need anything related to real estate, visit topagentteam.com and we'll take care of you.